This is chapter 18, the industrial city, and this is going to be an outline of the chapter. So you do not need to read the entire chapter. I would suggest maybe starting out with a preview of the chapter by actually going to your textbook, looking through the captions, the pictures. They will add interest and also connections to things that are listed in the outline. I am giving you an outline instead of the actual chapter. You do not need to do a Cornell Notes. You're going to kind of do a spin on Cornell Notes using this outline. So first of all, it says create 3 to 4 questions per subheading, and that's the letters. So what I want you to do is definitely read through here, read the chapter objectives, and then go through and really look at what the outline is saying. And for every main letter, you are going to create 3 to 4 questions for each subheading. So as I'm reading through here, I see that urbanization and city innovation and inventions. It says the commercial cities of the early 19th century were densely settled around harbors and riverfronts. A downtown area emerged. Industrial development followed the arteries of transportation to the outskirts of the city where concentrations of industry were formed. I continue reading. So as I'm reading, I'm going to create 3 to 4 questions that would be answered by this information. So you're going to do this in pen or pencil on the actual paper, but I'm going to kind of show you how you're going to annotate this. So off to the side here, I could create a question like, what were the key characteristics of the growing urban areas of the late 1800s. So there's a question there, and then I'd probably want to go through and maybe underline some of the answers to that, right? So like densely settled around harbors and riverfronts. There was a downtown area that emerged. It was around arteries of transportation on the outskirts of the city. So there's a couple of answers, and then I could read further and I could answer those questions. So again, for every letter, I want you to have 3 to 4 questions. So over here, B says private city, public city. So in the margin here, you can write 3 to 4 questions. If you don't feel that you have room to do that, you can do it on a separate sheet of paper and maybe just write A, city innovation, and write out 3 questions, and then B, private city, public city, and write out three questions, at least label them. This also says use annotation symbols to mark up your outline. I left you some over here. So as you're going through, you could, fill in a main idea. You could put a question for something that would be a good discussion. Any connection to a prior reading, your own experience, or a modern example would be good. If something seems really interesting, just give it an annotation mark and then kind of write out to the side why you picked that. Again, you don't have to have a minimum amount of things on here, but maybe 1 per main heading or main subheading here. It's just to show that you're being attentive to the reading. It's not necessarily an amount of annotations that I want. You're obviously limited in your space. It says be sure to identify terms as instructed on the terms list. So if I go back to the terms list, I want to look at chapter 18. Frank Sprague is the first term. So if I go to my outline, I see Frank Sprague here. So either highlight him, make sure you know how he is important. So kind of have your own little system of how you are going to do these things. If you want to do your annotations in one color highlight, that would be great. If you want to do your terms in another one, I will notice on here that there are some things that say look this up online and add to the outline. So again, you might need like a separate sheet of paper where you can look those things up. Some of the terms like suburbanization, it says look up in the glossary in the back of your textbook and add the definition from the textbook glossary, because in the actual outline it's going to be short. So it's not really going to define suburbanization. It's going to mention it in context, but it will not give a definition. So please look that up in the back of your book. Find the definition in the glossary. That's any that are bolded with 2 asterisks. And then, of course, Dwight L. Moody, Billy Sunday, tenement housing, look those up online and add them either on the outline if you have space or on a separate sheet of paper. You will have a quiz that will include any of these terms or ideas. You can use all of these notes and the outline on your quiz when you take it.